This podcast is presented by Skies Magazine. If you're interested in the Canadian aviation industry, Skies is your go-to multimedia resource for the latest news, in-depth features, stunning photography, and insightful video coverage. Whether you're an aviation professional or enthusiast, Skies is dedicated to keeping you informed and bringing your passion for aviation to life. Visit skiesmag.com to learn more and subscribe to stay updated on all things Canadian aviation.
Fuel and ignition switches on. RPM switches set. TD switches normal. Doors and hatches closed. Light out. Strobe light on. Restart check is complete. Clear left. Engineers, start number 2. Starting 2. Wind 310, Pilot Project Podcast. Clear takeoff. Runway 31 left.
All right, we're ready for departure here at the Pilot Project Podcast, the best source for stories and advice from RCAF and mission aviation pilots, brought to you by Skies Magazine. I'm your host, Brian Morrison, and today I'm joined once again by CT-155 Kingfisher pilot Rock Veilleux. Rock, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here.
Listeners can check out part 1 to hear about Rock's early aviation story, his flight training, and his CT-155 Hawk ejection and the long road back that brought him into the world of instructing. Today, in part 2, we'll be focusing on Rock's evolution as a qualified flight instructor, or QFI, his years teaching and living overseas in Saudi Arabia, and his return to the Canadian Armed Forces flying the Kingfisher as part of Canada's newest SAR community. We mentioned at the end of part 1 that you needed elbow surgery. Once your elbow surgery was behind you and you began the FIS, or Flying Instructor School course, what challenges did you face while learning to instruct?
Well, it was it's very interesting. It's a different, like you said, or I said before, my English was not like the best. I'm still have a very strong accent, but it wasn't the best. So now you need to teach it. So you need to talk a lot. And so that was a big challenge for me. The other challenge is I was still have some mental issue regarding the ejection seat. I was afraid of the seat. Even if it was a different aircraft, I remember just sitting every morning in the seat, even 3 times a day, and thinking all right, that will not happen today. That will not happen today. Trying to just talk myself into it, and just make sure that I was in the right mind state. And when I was removing the safety pin, you put on the handle, so now the seat is live. I've always this stress, this ball of stress was sitting on me, and taxiing to the runway, there's always a time normally you just think about what will happen and get ready for the flight. As a student and an instructor too, you need to do that. But that was a little bit of free times that I was talking to myself. All right, today that will not happen. I will not eject. That will not happen today. And after you take off, now you get your instructor hat, and now you're starting to teach. You have stuff to do. You have to do some following through, make sure there's a mistake or something, you catch it and you can debrief it. So this thought of the seat and the fear was slowly going in the back of your mind. And a few minutes into the flight, I was not thinking about it, but this fear stayed with me for I would say a couple of years. And even when I was an instructor, every morning I was thinking about it. And at one point, a lot of water under the bridge. And at one point, I was not thinking about it when I was putting the pins in. I was thinking about it when I was taxiing out. To at one point, I was in my bed at night thinking about what happened today, and I just realized that I didn't think about ejecting today. And a few weeks after is I didn't think about it during the week. And you feel this release that it's not holding you back anymore, that this fear is gone. And that's actually a very good feeling, when you realize that, all right, it's not there anymore.
About how long would you say that was?
I would say took I would say a good the whole process until I realized that I didn't think about it this week, a good 2 years.
Yeah. And you mentioned as well having the issues with the language barrier. How did you overcome that? It was just more practice, and you got better with it, or what?
Well, yes and no. So yes, because you are when you're doing a Clairwood 1 or Clairwood 16, I don't know if you remember, but you have the boards, you have the briefing. It's very structured. So you have your key points, and like it's always the same brief. So using like very simple words just to make sure like there's no misconception or just like misunderstanding between you and the students. And more you become like a better instructor, or you just evolve as an instructor. Like what we teach to instructor is like to use like just words when you're flying. So let's say you're doing like a loop. So like when you will brief the loop, you will just like, you'll give like the whole briefing, just like what the aircraft will do, what you're looking at and everything. But when you're flying it, what you want to do is just use maybe 3 words, and you will like split in 3. So we say I will talk about entry, over the top, and exit, and 1 keywords for like every. So entry, back pressure, top, freeze, and exit. That was always rate for me. So like when you fly it, so like now the student is flying it, and if you say back pressure, so you will remember like, okay, you want to pull the 4Gs. When you get at the top, freeze. Okay, freeze means you don't touch the stick, like you keep it that way. And when you exit, the rate was like you cross-check the horizon and the airspeed to exit at 230 knots. So when you're using like just like 3 words, it's difficult to just like get bad at it. So that says, oh, you overcome it. And at one point, well, you're in Mujia, so everybody is English, and you get some English girlfriend, and just like you need to talk. So
Yeah.
it's get better.
Yeah. What did you enjoy most about instructing in Moose Jaw?
We had a lot of hours, flying hours. So that was not like it is right now. Like right now, they're in a big transition to the PC-21 and the turbo Grobe. When I was there, we had a lot of hours. So we could, I remember at one point I was like free cross country. Every weekend, if you wanted to go, just take an aircraft and just go on the road. You know, like 4-ship Friday was a thing. We have sometimes 5 wave per day. So I was like flying 3 times a day, you know, like 2 instruction trip and a formation need or something like that. I flew with the Harvard like from San Diego to Quebec City and just Vancouver, like everywhere. Like the Harvard doesn't have like the glamorous of like the Hawk or F-18, but like this aircraft just can do a lot of good stuff. You know, like it's small, you can pull a lot of G's. We have legs. You know, like you can do like 600 nautical miles on 1 tank, and the maximum like we have like a 1,200 nautical miles radius around around Moose Jaw that we can go anytime. So like that was like just like 2 hops. So that was like great. You know, like small runway, we can land it. Yeah, no, that was a very good aircraft to learn, to teach on, because it's still like high performance. Like you add G-lock on the aircraft once, like you can roll it upside down, fly upside down. You can do low level routes at 4 nautical miles a minute. You know, you just like you can pull like a 6G if you want. And back then we didn't have like the G suit. That's a very good thing that they have G suit right now, but like we didn't have the G suit in the back, so we have like some issue with like student G locking themselves.
Can you explain what G-lock is?
Oh yeah, G locks is when the blood rush out of your head, so you just lost consciousness. So like you have like tunnel visions.
It's like G-force loss of consciousness, I think is what it stands for, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're totally right. So we have like some student who the fear back then was like a student with G-lock themselves during like solo flight.
During aerobatics or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I just like to say like the aircraft is very powerful.
Yeah.
It's a very fun aircraft to fly. Doesn't have the speed of the Hawk, but like if you do a 2 minutes leg in a Hawk of Harvard, it's 2 minutes leg. So like there's a way to make it like more challenging. And I would say like for many things, the Harvard is more challenging to fly than the Hawk, because we don't have like the power to get out of bad situation, you know. Yeah, the Hawk, if you have icing, you just like go max powers, burn the ice. We cannot do that on the Harvard. But no, overall, like that was a great aircraft. Like we have like so many cross countries to Las Vegas. We did like a 4-ship over Las Vegas once for a V square.
What's a V square?
Oh, that was his call sign. Van
Oh,
Vliet, Major Van Vliet.
okay.
I think he is from WestJet now. So Major Van Vliet, when he retired, we did like this big trip, like 8 instructor down to Vegas, 4 ship over like the strip, San Francisco. So yeah, great times. And like I was saying, like when you teach something and you are doing all those experience with this high performance aircraft, you just get better at it.
Mhm.
Like 120 degrees formation flying with 3Gs pull, like no issue with it. You know, max performance turn, no issues. All the aerobatics, yeah, I'm very versatile on all of that. So yeah, that was a great aircraft to teach on, and yeah, I have like fond memories of it.
Yeah, honestly, pretty much everybody I know who taught on the Harvard really enjoyed it. Like the work is really sounds like it was very hard, like long days. It had its challenges, but in terms of the aircraft and the flying, it sounds like it was fantastic.
It's long days, so like you start early in the morning, med brief. There's always a way to make it like easier, but like if you want to be a good instructor and you want your student to learn and to get what their choice and be better pilot, because at the end of the day, all those people, I stay like in Muja for a long time. Like I meet them all the time, all the instructors, and we'll talk about that later. But like all the instructors of students, like I meet some people that I thought with or I thought to everywhere you go. So like the Air Force is a very small community, and if you want them to be good because you will work with them. It's not like I'm in a small like company and I'm teaching like private license and like I will never see this person again. Like you will just like turn a corner in a building at one point and boom, like that's the guy that you flew over Las Vegas in the 4 ship and like all the memories come back. And it's the way it is. Like, so if you want to be a very good instructor, and so you show up in the morning, you study like the last trip of the students, so what they did wrong, what they did good, how you can improve. You can go talk to the other instructors, and when like the flight is over, you want to have like and a good briefing. You want to have a good briefing that the people will learn from it. You fly it, and when you debrief, you want to bring some good points. And when you write the cards, you don't want to be like quick on the cards neither. You want to have some root cause of what happens and what you think the next instructor should do to fix it to make him better. So it takes time, and yeah, it just takes time.
Mm-hmm. At Moose Jaw, you worked in B flight in ops and eventually earned your A2 instructional category, as you mentioned in the previous episode. Can you tell us what you learned from these roles?
So when you start like out of the flight instructor school, so you're a CCAT. So it's more like you have the license to kill at that point. So you just go, you learn, you get your first students. Normally you will get a strong student. So you'll learn like the tools that you learn in FIS, you will apply them, you will try to get a good instructor. After 6 months, you get a check ride and you will be a BCAT. BCAT is like really like the working class of the instructor. Most of the instructors should be BCAT. And so now you will get like a little bit more like challenging students. People have some issues and your work is to fix them. And more you work in a BCAT, so at one point you will work with other instructors, you will work with a CCAT, and that will just like at the end bring you to your ACAT category is when you will be able to teach brand new people to be instructor. And so like there's a lot of responsibility of you. You're teaching the next generation of instructor. You will teach to students who have like big difficulty, like everybody try and like they cannot like fix them, and sometimes you have the last resort, and like if you cannot fix them, well, most likely this will be a cease training and they will just have to change trade. So this is this big responsibility. It was very interesting. You have like all those cases, but that's a big responsibility, and it's very enjoyable. It's very good, and that's is where like you learn new technique, you teach those technique, and yeah, and that will open the A2, like the A category, like open up a lot of international doors that like we'll talk a little bit later. But like this category is very is recognized internationally.
Well, So you later ended up working in wing standards. How did that change your perspective on safety, consistency, and quality of instruction?
So I was like part of the wing standard cell. That was very interesting because now you have like an overview of what's going on. And one of my main job at this point, it was when Bombardier transferred the contract to CE. So like I was part of it because now it's more like it's not as much as instructing, but it's more about like the stats and like see if we like if the division quota are met and how can we fix it and everything. So now you go more from a very tactical view that you just like you're an instructor on the line, and now like that bring your scope up. So now you have like a more interesting global view of the instruction, and now like what's happening in Portage is bringing in, and like the course delays and like the fleet, how to fix the issue and everything. So it's I guess it's a normal progression like for an officer in the forces that you go from very tactical to a little bit like more overview, and I really enjoy it. Like it's very it's when you're on the line, like you have some frustration sometimes and you don't understand why they're doing like thing that way and everything. And when you get at your position like that and you're sitting in those meetings and you have like all the CO, the wing commander is there, and you have like the Bombardier and C people and everything, and you're just like talking about the contract, the planes and everything and their challenges. It's so now you understand why things works that way. So it's and as a captain, that's good to bring back those concern and those like discussion back and say, oh, we're doing this that way because of those challenges, and like they're working it out. So yeah, I really enjoy it. That was fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you find that working in that capacity helped you later in your career at all?
Yes, because I realized that I like it.
Just for the listeners, if you do hear any background noise on Rock's side, that's because Rock is taking the time today while he's on his Christmas vacation with his family to record today. So you might hear his family a little in the background, but we're just grateful that he's taking this time today while he's supposed to be on vacation. So yeah, we mentioned, or at least you mentioned when we spoke prior to the interview, that you were always supposed to go back to jets in 6 months, but the timeline kept slipping. When did you realize that dream was drifting out of reach?
So the chain of command was always like saying like I will have the chance to go, the opportunity to go on jet like in 6 months and everything. So that was always like pushed down the line. But there was a good reason for that happened. We have like some ARC issues, maintenance issues. And after that, like the Royal Air Force canceled the Harrier program overnight. So we got like an influx of Royal Air Force pilot in Mujia. We got 6 of them. We're already like jet pilots, like fighter pilots who get like fast track. So all those people went in front of me, and we have, like I said, like issue on a Hawk. And you have all those students too who are just like behind you and pushing. So like it's not like for sure you get like a spot on the next course. Like it's what the Air Force need and how many like students are finishing the Hawk and everything. So that was always push. And at one point, the CEO said like, well, Rocky, you've been here for a very long time. It's time for you like to choose to move on. And like I said, I was very frustrated about that. I understand the decision, like for a common RCF point of view, like that's the right thing to do. As a personal point of view, I was not very happy with it. So this is where like we sat down and we me and my wife, and we said like what's next. So what do you want to do? Where you want to go? I had like a son at that point. Like Emmerich was just a newborn, and we're looking for an opportunity. So I didn't want to go helicopters. I was thinking about multi-engine, and like at one point something happened. So there's like this company, British Aerospace, who comes in Mujia from like every couple of years, sometime every year. They just ran like a hall in Mujia and said it's all like just like people talk about it and say, if you want to just come, we'll talk about like opportunity in the Middle East and with our company and everything. And, like no string attached, you just come. So I went That was a briefing. My wife was there, and they talk about how to live over there, how it works, the job. And he is always like an ex Muja instructor there, and just telling about his experience over there. And most likely his wife would be there and showing her point of view and everything. And at the end, you get like a card, and they said like if you're happy, if you wanna, if you wanna learn more, just like call that number, And I called the number, and so I did like the paperwork and everything, and just they offered me a job, and I was like, wow, okay, maybe let's try it. And that was in the Middle East. I was in Saudi Arabia. I was a little bit nervous about it. My wife always loved work, like traveling and new experience. So like she wanted to go. So that was not even her. That was me at that point. And one of my other friend, Paul Dacier, was like a few months behind me on the process. So he was actually ahead of me. So he was already going. And I said, let's give it a go and see how it will be.
What factors influenced your decision to actually take that leap and move your family overseas?
Well, honestly, like at that point, I was more a little bit of frustration regarding like the Air Force. I have like Mujja. I spent almost like 10 years there, as the first day as a student to my last day as an instructor. And you show up and there's like this big expectation that you will do something. Like I was saying, like I was hoping for my street to be straight to my dream and everything. And a lot of stuff happened when I was there. And so when they say like I will not go jet, and I need like to choose a new path, it's almost like your world is crumbling. And and what you do now is just like, well, what's important? So that was like, what's important for me at that point was my family. Like I really love my son. I will be there. I wanted to be there for him and everything. And there's always like I don't want to deploy all the time anymore. And that's funny saying that. Like, I'm going to say I will go in the Middle East, but like it's almost like it's a family experience at that point. So it's not just me going. It's Diana, my wife too, and I'll bring some other issues later. But like that's where we went for. And so I did like told my chain of command that's the direction I wanted to go through. They said like, well, you need to be posted out. Like for like the posting, we cannot like keep you here. So where do you want to go? I said anything west except 407. So they post me 407, and that's always it works. So I show up in 407, fully expecting my new squadron to know about my plan and everything. But of course, nobody talks to each other. And so at that point, my wife was pregnant with number 2, and I remember showing up one morning with like my paperwork for parental leave. I said I will take 6 months parental leave, and this is my 6 months notice. And the CO was GP Gagnon, Lieutenant Colonel GP Gagnon. And like the face he gave me, like I'd say parental leave is, congrats for the kids. I'm leaving in 6 months, and his face like changed. And this name will be interesting. We'll come back a little bit later in the story. But so I left September 2nd. I think that was early September 2007. I was gone for 2008, I will say. Oh, in that area. And so I went to London. I did like the indoctrination course. That was very interesting. They flew me back in Canada, waiting for my visa. Took a little bit of time to get a visa, but like at one point I was shipped with my luggage right to Riyadh.
Wow.
And I was very nervous. So like that was my first time in the Middle East. I went to Egypt before, but I don't think that's that kind of Middle East. No, it's really like the real Middle East, the one you see in the TVs and everything. And so I show up, and the first person I met over there was a South African, great guy, and he just like drive me home. That was my first contact with like the company, and we just like start talking about who is in Saudi right now and who I know, and I'm like, that's super weird. Like a South African asking me who I know and everything. And at one point, I realized that we know a lot of people, like common people. And I realized that there would be a lot of Canadian on the compound, on the British compound that I know. So show up, he dropped me in my room, and he said, "Hey, by the way, there's a Canadian party tonight at Mike Dunning house." I was just like, "Oh, I know that name. I know that name. He was an instructor. He was a standard when I was an instructor." So that was a small compound, like that was a 1 square kilometers, and so I walked there, and oh my god, I just like show up, and there's like so many people I know. Like it's like all the stress of being like by yourself in the Middle East and like foreign countries that you don't speak the language and everything lifts right away because you have like so many people you know. And so now you realize like one of my old boss was there, and half the Canadian I already flown with them when I was in Mujja, and it's like, all right, it's like RCEF reunion in the middle of the desert, and now we just like start talking, and yeah, super good. And the first thing I know, I'm paired with a British guy, Rich Taylor, and like he was a tornado pilot. Went to Iraq, I think, and everything. Like great story guy. And like we pair for the PC-21 course, and we just start chatting. And he realized that I was in Mujja. I said, and Rich said, "Hey, I was in Mujja," and for like the hawk training. So we start talking each other. And at one point, Rich said like that was one night, like all the British people like get together for like a British night. They went out of the kitchen and they asked the people to do fish and chips. And like so they organized all the fish and chip nights. That was supposed to be like a very British nights with like British beers and everything else. And the cook was from Saskatchewan. So when the food showed up, that was fried fish, but that was not French fries. That was like chips, like you said, like potato chips.
Like potato chips?
Yeah, exactly. And I look at Rich, I said, "I was there for that night. I remember that. It was like super weird." And Rich said, "I know, that was like super weird." And we just like start laughing. And at one point we connect right away where we were in Mujah at the same time. And now like a lot of stuff happened and we have like the same memory about it. Like, so that was good. And you realize that you're in the middle of the desert on the other side of the world, and you met somebody that you think you never met before, but like you were at the same place doing the same thing that was flying aircraft, like in Saskatchewan. That was crazy. That was good.
Wow.
Yeah, and like the last news I have from Rich, now he left Saudi, and he is an Australian, so he's flying for the Australian Air Force.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What did you find were the biggest differences between instructing in the RCAF and instructing on the PC-21 in Saudi?
Well, the aircraft is amazing. I'm super glad the RCF is buying it. It is the best mix of a Hawk and a Harvard.
Oh wow.
It's a great aircraft. Like it's super good to teach on it. It's very powerful. Like everything can be synthetic in it. Like I was teaching air to air with the radar. There's no radar in the aircraft, but like because each aircraft talk to each other, you can have a synthetic radar so you can see what the other aircraft does. Do, and if they do chaff and flare, you will sit on the radar. If you like simulate like a missile launch, the other aircraft will get like the beep beep that like you will get like on a real fire jet. We're doing low level flight and we're dropping a bomb, and you can like it's a fake bomb, it's all computer, but like in the debrief you can bring up the map and see where the bomb touched the ground, like the simulated bomb. Like for training is amazing. Like all the systems. I'm not sure what like Canada bought, but like money was not an issue in Saudi, so they bought everything. So like super easy to debrief. You just bring the POC, you download the flight, and you have like a seconds by seconds flight. You can like even like you do you teach, let's say, a loop, something very simple, and there's a wing drop in the loop, so you can go. And like on the recording, you can go seconds by second. You can see where the drop happened, and you can see what was the input of the pilot at that moment. So you can tell him, say like, You see, at that moment, this is why you have a wing drop. It's because you have a little bit of like left aileron down.
Wow.
It's crazy. That was that was amazing. The style of teaching over there is very different than us. It's very can. Um, the way they do things is very different too. You you need to tell a story. So when you cannot, let's say in Canada, like again, I always use the loop example because it's the easiest one. Your first loop, you're doing like fantastic loop. That was like as good as I can do. I give you a level 4. Level 4 is like it's a minor mistake self-correct. So, but like because it's your first time you're doing it, your minimum level is level 2, and level 2 is like make mistake, and the instructor have to give you some verbal tip. So in Canada, I will put you a level 4. That was great. And let's say the next day you have a bad day, and I need to give you some verbal cues to make your loop okay. So at the end, you get a level 2, and that's the minimum level that you will get, and that's okay. You just keep going. Like that's normal. Like over there, you cannot do that. Over there, even if it has like the best loop ever, you always get the minimum grade. If he gets a higher grade, let's say I give you a level 4, but the next day he has a bad day and I have to give him a level 2, like I need to explain why the students regressed. And like, oh, the student has a bad day. Like it's not a good reason. So like a lot of stuff we're doing over there was like to cover, we're teaching it, but like we're writing the card just to make sure that the story is straight. Like if you have to fail somebody for a flight, you will not fail him on the first flight. You will write a story. So you will make him plateau. And even if you know, like day 1, he will not pass, you cannot like fail him there. So you will make him plateau, that you will see the grade will keep increase. He's not able to reach the grade. And after like the 4th flight, you will show like a regression who's maybe like his real level. And after that, like a study instructor, you will show, say like, this is what happened. I teach him that. Here's a plateau. And now he's regressing. He will fly with the study instructor. And he will say like, you're totally right. And the student will be out of the course. And like they don't over there, like if they have like to write off a course, they will write off a course. It's very interesting. Like it's like in Mujia, we're trying to keep the students. We're trying to really grow them and be better pilots and everything. Over there, it just like if you don't fit, you don't fit. It just like it just keep what's the one we're able to just like keep the pace. And the other thing too is like in Mujia, like it's your course. You're there to fly. Over there, it's like the RMC, and the second thing is to fly. So they will have like they will have like night drill, fire drills, and they will just like stuff through the night. And in the morning, they will have to show up ready for flying, but they didn't have time to study and everything. So you will show up like 8 in the morning. You have your students, and you see in his face that he didn't sleep that night. For sure, he didn't open his book. He doesn't know his number, And so one is very bad. So what will happen is I will just tell him, say like, just go in MR and ground yourself. Say like you're sick or something. Because again, if they jump in the aircraft, they cannot regress. They cannot have a bad day. And I have actually a very funny story about that. One of my students was, I would say, a little bit like smarter than the others. And over there, like the RMC have a jail. So it's a night jail. If you do something prohibited, like smoking or something like that, you go in jail like overnight. And this student was always trying to get caught smoking. So he was able to go in the jail at night. But if you're in a jail, you're in the jail. So he was bringing his book. He was going to jail. And that's how he was studying. He said like, jail is the best place to study. It's calm. You cannot talk, and there's no like drills and everything. You just have to study. So it was like very, very, very funny.
That is funny. That's a creative solution for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be general later. Yeah.
What can you share about how the country itself changed during your years there?
So when I show up there, like even like a simple restaurant visit all the restaurant will be split in two. So you will have one side for family, one side for a single man. Woman was not driving. I show up, we have I think one movie theater in Riyadh. Um, and by the time we left, like all of those restriction, all there was like a wind of change over Saudi, and that was very interesting to see. Like the women were able to drive. We have like so many movie theaters, and that was like beautiful, beautiful movie theaters. Best popcorn I ever had was over there. Like all the restaurant was like here, like so quite interesting. And like the malls and everything, it's yeah, that was like a big wind of change, like big changes over there.
Wow. Do you know what was driving that?
Oh, that was MBS was the one in charge of this part. So whatever we say about him internationally, over there is doing good stuff for his people.
Mm.
So, but yeah, and like Saudi people really loved him. Like over there, it's a little bit like a mess. Like you don't talk about girls, about religion, you don't talk about money, this kind of stuff. And over there, you don't talk about like the king if you don't like him.
Yeah.
But generally, like all the young people really like what MBS is doing to their country. Like they open up, like the normal common people like really love him because they have more access to what we'll call a normal life here.
Okay.
CAF Outlooks is Canada's 3-day conference where the Canadian Armed Forces and industry shape the direction of defense and security. From April 7th to 9th, CAF leaders speak directly to industry on current projects and future procurement needs, with each day focused on one environment: Army, Navy, and Air Force. The CAF Outlooks series is presented by CADC, the Canadian Association of Defense and Security Industries. Learn more or register today at defenseandsecurity.ca/CAF.
How did living overseas affect your family? And let's say like the good, the challenging, and what was unexpected?
Let's start with the good. So my wife really, really enjoyed it. On the compound, that was British rules. So like we just dress in shorts and everything. So that was great. Like we had like pools everywhere. Like the school for the kids were like 100 meters from my house. We have like they import like food from everywhere in the world. If you like fish, that's amazing. Like they have like so many kind of fish and meat, and they just import the best. So that was super super interesting and for cheap too. So that was good. Traveling was amazing. Saudi is one flight away from Europe, one flight away from Asia. So we have like a lot of good travel when we're over there. The people over there are very nice too. Like I never felt treated or afraid to be out over there. Like they really love kids. My kids, like sometimes, like let's say like we traveled to Japan, and at one point my kids forgot one of his toy in his stroller, and like he ran in the restaurant to get his toy, and like the cook like got like super mad and yelled at my kid in the Japanese restaurant in Japan. But like in Saudi, like whatever they do like goes. Like everybody was happy with them, and like mashallah, and touched their head and everything. My daughter got lost in a shopping mall, and like yeah, everybody helped us to find her, and that was good. Like we never felt like something bad will happen to her. Driving is crazy. I will say like driving is the worst thing over there. It's so dangerous. But no, so I would say like that's a good, all the friends we made from like Scotland, UK, South Africa, Australia. It's nice. It's nice to have that. Let's say like the more challenging for me is like it's more like to adapt to or like what the Saudi expect from you. It's yeah, the instruction part is a little, it's much different. So you really need to take care about how you act and everything. You don't go there as a missionary. You don't want to change them. So like when you're over there, like you need to you're a guest in their countries. So they expect you to act as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a lot of interesting story of people who just like did something and the next day they were on a plane, because like they decided they didn't like them, and they're nice, and you do something, and the next day you're on a plane and it's over. Like so. And you don't choose, like people were laughing, you don't choose your seat neither, like you're gone.
Wow.
And somebody will send your belongings later. So many stories of a bit like that. So it's challenging for that. Like there's always the stress that you don't know what will happen for next week. Some people are better at it than others. I know like some people were very stressed about that. My wife and I were more about like we have like some financial goals, so like we were like aiming for that, and after that we'll change our way, but like that was our goal, so that's what we stay our eyes on. So and for me, I knew that was not for the rest of my life. That was just for a period of time, so that's better too.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one was the like the really bad. Well, you sit in the Middle East, so they were at war with Yemen, and I remember like once they had like Patriot missile batteries everywhere around Riyadh. And one time, like I was on a barbecue and like the Patriot missile launched, and you look up and you're like, oh, maybe it will start raining rain soon. So just gather the kids, go inside the house, and now you realize like that's not something that will happen in Canada.
Yeah.
It's not the way we see things. And like after that, you will get like an alert on your phone, and the missile crash like not that far from your house, and you see like people like taking picture of it and everything, and you're like, you know what, like I don't think I want my kids to think that's normal. So so at one point you decide that's enough and it's time to go home.
That's the reason you decided to come back to Canada?
Well, there's like other factors and everything. At that point I was teaching at the academy over there. I was not flying as much, and that was Emmerich. My son was going in age for school. I wanted him to be in a French school. Anouk too. She was getting at the right age for that. I wanted to go in the airlines, so at that point, like I have enough hours. My TPL was done, and I was ready to go in the airlines. And yeah, and that's what happened. Like I was working for the company for almost 3 years at that point, so that's almost like a posting cycle. And yeah, that was time to try something else.
So you talked about why you came back to Canada. You mentioned that you wanted to go in the airlines. So what ended up motivating you to return to the CAF in 2020?
So 2020, what happened in 2020?
Ha!
Hold on.
Yes, maybe I should have thought a little harder about that.
So yeah, COVID happened. And by the way, COVID in Saudi was nothing like COVID here. Here, like people were just complaining about masks. In Saudi, we have tanks at every crossroad. And to go to the next block, you needed like a paper from like an authority to say like, you have a good reason to leave. So like they really split the city, and you shall stay in your block. So I remember at one point I needed to go to the hospital, and I left in the morning, and I have like this letter in Arabic, and I get to the checkpoint, and there's like an M1 and M1A1 Abraham there.
And for the listeners, just to emphasize the point Rock is making here, an M1A1 Abrams is a main battle tank.
With all like those guard with like the AK-47. And like I show the letter in Arabic. They don't speak English. I'm giving them my best smile. And like I don't know what will happen, will they take like my letter or no? And the guys like let me through, and I was like, oh, that's very interesting. But yeah, so I had like an interview with WestJet. I was waiting for an interview for Air Canada at that point. I got a nice email saying that it was canceled. So, and I was like on the way back to Canada. I wanted to go back to Canada. So I was thinking, what about going back in the CAF as a reservist and just go in the holding pattern like so many reservists do before going back in the airlines? So I went through the process and to get back in the reserve, and we moved back to Comox where I was before. The reserve flight in Comox is exceptional. I will say, like those people are like so helpful, super good, super eager to help you and hire you and fill up position. So like I show up and yeah, like I was back in just like that. I was back in the CAF as a reservist.
And then when you went Rake Forest, you were the executive assistant to the 19 wing commander, right?
Yeah. So what happened is I was a reservist. I was a wing operations center in Comox at 19 wings with 19 OSS, so the operational support squadron, and we and I went again in parental leave as I always do, and the EA for the wing commander was Sarah Dallaire at that point, who was a she was a snowbird. She was a good friend of mine. She was an instructor with me. And you mentioned that she was a course mate of you in A flight.
Yeah, just one course behind me, but we were both in Apache flight at the same time.
You know, those Apache people. But yeah, so I was in parental leave, and when I show up back from Saudi and I show up in 19 wing, it's always like a new place of work. Who the hell do I know here and everything? And I remember first time I show up at the walk is this big airlock that you just open the first door, you enter, close the door behind you, change of pressure, and you open the door and you're like, oh my God, that's very impressive. And now I step in this wing operations center, and the first person I met, it's like Henk Schutte-Bisping, who's a German who switched Canadian. We're instructor together in Moose Jaw. And it's just like, oh my God, I know people here too. And like you just go around the office and I already know half of those people. And like right away, like you catch up and you feel super happy, you know, people. And yeah, it's make like the transition so easy. And the big thing we have in Comox is the search and rescue center in Canada. So like the S442 is there. And I realized that I have a lot of people in the SAR community. And one of them is Matt Hart. As I mentioned, he was wearing the same Hawk course.
Okay.
And at that point, Matt was the pilot lead for the Buffalo. And we're like in a big transition to go from the Buffalo to the Kingfisher. A very interesting time to be in SAR. And Matt was like, Rock, you need to come SAR. And I was like, all right, how can I be SAR? And like, so like Matt is putting like all this plan together. You need to do that. Just make sure you do good work. And he's trying to volunteer for stuff so people understand your name. And I was like, okay, I will follow your plan, Matt. But at that point, I went to parental leave, so I'm gone. And one day I got like the phone call, and I was Matt. He said like, hey, Rock, the wing commander EA is Sarah Dallaire, and she's pregnant, and they're looking for replacement for her. And the wing commander is like the SAR cake, so it's the one who is just like talk about SAR with the general, so be the wing commander. So like the wing commander is really like is the most senior SAR people, so they have like they can do whatever they want almost. And so I said that's a great idea. I called my boss. I was still in parental leave. I said I want to be the wing EA, and they said yeah, we'll put your names up. Long story short, I got the job, and I became like the wing commander EA at 19 Wings. My first wing commander was Rhonda Stevens, who was acting wing commander, acting colonel. Great person. Like I learned so much from her, and she was SAR. So I think like in the first 2 weeks I was there, we're like just like walking to an event or something, and she asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to be SAR because at that point I was still long range patrol on my docks. So I asked her, I want to be SAR, and just like that, the next day I was now on the SAR parole.
Oh wow!
And that was like the easiest change of I didn't have to write any memo or stuff like that. She just made it happen for me, and that's what happened. And at that point I was SAR. Like then my next wing commander was GP Gagnon, or as the guys I gave like the my 6 months notice
Oh yeah,
earlier. So so I remember like sitting at my office and I see like the new wing commander walking in, and that's GP Gagnon. And I remember him because I give him the paper, and he looks at me, and like you see like the lights, everything say, "Oh, I know you," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" So but he's like, it's a great guy, amazing wing commander. I learned again a lot different style of leadership, so that was very interesting to see. At one point, he sat me down at the mess and he said, like, Rock, if you want to go long range patrol, I can have you an OTU like in the next month. And I said, no, I want to say SAR. So he said, okay, sounds very good. So he set me up for the ERC OTU, so one of the last legacy ERC OTU. And I was like very happy about it. And but the story goes, before we get to the Kingfisher, at one point, Lieutenant Colonel Jean Leroux, who was 442 CO, show up just like his head in my office, and he said like, Rock, I thought you wanted to go Kingfisher. And I said, I didn't know it was an option. Say, okay, you're a Kingfisher. And that's how I just joined the Kingfisher program.
Wow.
It's just like Lieutenant Colonel Leroux. And the thing is, at that point, they were trying like to staff up the first course, so AICT, with 8 people.
What's AICT?
That was the Aircrew Initial Cadre Training.
Okay.
So that was the first Canadian course. And they were trying to fill it up with 8 aircraft commander, like on the Buff and Hercules. But the thing is, like the Kingfisher at this point, they have a lot of good reputation and everything. The ERC needed his AC, so they have like issue finding, filling up those 2 last spots. So the first one to be selected for that was Steve Hardy, who was like a FO3, so that's an acting AC level on the Hercules, who show up on the Kingfisher. And after that, I took the last spot of the course, and I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Awesome. What did you think of the Kingfisher when you got to finally fly it?
So when I was in aviation college, like long time ago, they were always talking about like the next aircraft, like the screen, the odds, and everything, like the next technology and everything. And I never had the opportunity to really fly a last brand new generation aircraft. So the first time, like they sat us in the sim, and now like you just like all touch screen. That's a multi-engine aircraft, but we have like 2 odds that like I flew on a Hawk in the PC-21 with it, so I flew a lot of odd times. So that was like super nice for me to see a odd in this aircraft.
And just for listeners, a HUD is a heads-up display, and it's basically like a little window you look through that gives you all the data you need to keep flying without looking down at your instruments.
Yeah, and actually all in capital letters, like everything in it. And we can talk about it, like, but this odd bring us a lot of information and different like functions. But yeah, so yeah, it's like for the first time in my life, I was like sitting in an aircraft that is up to its time, and I was like so happy. Like it was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. Yeah, and you describe this as kind of exciting but chaotic times with a lot of new checklists and standard maneuver manual or SMM changes, lots of flight permits. How did the crews adapt to that?
Well, it's you're right. So it's a very challenging time. It's a new fleet, so like nobody in the world fly this aircraft the way we fly it, where we fly it. So like I know, like in another interview, we were talking with like the CEOs and Dan Fox, and he was talking about like all the Change Canada requests on the aircraft and everything. So all that, of course, is new, and so we're learning the aircraft. So that's what's happening. So we're learning every day. We're learning something new in the aircraft. The community right now is very small. The pilots community and the SO TACO is very small. So every time like something new showed up, like it's a change of pubs. It can be very challenging for like people, let's say, coming from the ERC, where the ERC had been like all the pubs have been set in stone for so long.
Mm-hmm.
This aircraft have been flying from the 1950s, like all configuration all around the world, everywhere. So when you come like to a new aircraft with new pubs who maybe like just flew in Europe and now like is flying Canada in our icing, in our configuration, so it's new. So we need like to just adapt, change the way we do it. Like we cannot do it the same way as the Herc did it because we don't have like the power. We cannot do it like the same way as the Buff did it because like we have sensor now that the Buff don't. So the old Kingfisher SMM thing came together at first as a mix between the Herc and the Buffalo for the Kingfisher, but of course it's not what the Kingfisher can do. It's a very bad marriage. So more we're learning about the aircraft, so we're changing the SMM, we adapting the checklist. At one point, I changed checklist 3 times because the reorder steps and everything to make it more real, more just the way we do it in the aircraft. And they have a standard conference a couple of weeks ago, and now they're changing other stuff, and that's all good. It's just it's evolving in the right direction. It's evolving towards a platform who will be more operational. And this is the first winter too we're flying it, so we're learning a lot about the icing, what the aircraft can do. We can plan to be a little bit better if we lose engine, all this good stuff. So it's a learning curve. It's very exciting to be in that. It's the first time I'm in the front end that we're writing documents, helping the AC standards. Everybody needs our input to change stuff, and it's very exciting. For me, it's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm prepping the aircraft and for the future to be the best SAR platform we can have in Canada, fixed wing.
I think you mentioned as well before the interview that the Cormorant crews were having to kind of relearn fixed wing integration with the searching out west.
Yeah, exactly. So when we lost the Buff 2 years ago, we have the Hercules here in Comox, but we have some serviceability issues. Sometimes the Hercules had to fly from Winnipeg to support the Corm. So at one point, the Corm was done and the Herc was not even on scene. So yes, the Cormorant crew right now here needs to relearn how to use the Kingfisher, how to be a team. I will say, I think it's the best way to say it, how to be a good team. And we're getting there. Last week, the Corm all get together talking about their missions, and I was there. I was the awkward Kingfisher guys. And at one point, they start asking questions about the flares, times, what equipment we have in, and everything. So more and more, we're learning how to play together, and that's good. And even GRCC Victoria was not tasking the Kingfisher for some missions, and we're hey, we're here, we're personal. It's time to just let's play together so we can work better together. And now we planning some training too. So last week I was in an upgrade mission from some Sartex, and we did some work close of Kamloops, and the Cormorant was part of it. So we show up there a real mission. We found Cassera was on the ground mimicking aircraft crash. And so we did all the fixed wing stuff. We dropped the Sartex, we dropped some equipments for them and everything. And at one point, the Cormorant showed up and picked them up with the fake casualty and everything. And that's the way a normal mission should work. Kingfisher first. Kingfisher find the target, drop the Sartex, the equipment. They secure the site, take care of the people on the ground, and the Corm show up, pick them up, and bring them to hospital or maybe to another airfield where the Kingfisher can medevac there to Vancouver or Victoria.
Mm-hmm. What do you personally love about flying the Kingfisher?
I can fly it like a Harvard. I think that's the way I like it the most.
Yeah.
What we do, to explain to civilian pilots is we are flying like a bush plane. We are flying 200 feet over the trees, dropping some bundles. Soon we'll be able to go at 150 feet to drop messages to people. And we take this aircraft was as big as a Dash 8. And we open up the ramp and the back, and some people on the ramp dropping stuff and everything. And you just in the front, you're flying it 45 degrees to do mountain contouring. It's super fun. It's super fun to fly.
Yeah.
We're a big team. And it's not one of the things with the Harvard and the Hawk is you're flying it for an hour, and there's so much stuff happening. So much stuff. And it's after a normal mission on the Hawk or Harvard was 1.2. So an hour to 12 minutes. And now you get at the you get home, you do your stuff, and you go again for flying. And at the night, like maybe you go in a mess and all your buddy are having a beer and we talk, oh, today was good. And you debrief and you realize like, oh, well, that was amazing what we did today, you know, and you feel good about it. I always feel like the Kingfisher, like we're like the team, like minimum is 6 people. And there's like some downtime that we can talk about it. And you don't need to wait at night to love what you're doing. Like you're right in it. There's just enough time like you're just like enjoying it, soaking into it. And boom, you're doing like another drop and you go right in front of a boat, dropping a pump. And like right after you can just come and you can like assess if your drop was good and trying to find another way. And boom, we're back at 300 feet, middle of the night, like on NVGs and dropping stuff to, it's good. It's amazing. It's such a good feeling.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So you were one of the pilots for the Skies magazine photo shoot, which I was actually on board for back in June, which was an incredible experience for me. What was it like finally getting some great flying pictures of yourself after all these years?
Yeah, it's the first time I have like some like a professional photograph taking picture of me flying. So that was amazing. That's good. And the first preview we got, so Olivier like brought me in his office, and he was like, Rock, look at the picture. And the picture was like the Kingfisher on like a little bit like ring bank. But the thing is, with the shadow, we could not see Olivier, but you can see my face smiling. And Olivier was like, I'm not even on the picture. And I was just like, me with sunglasses, big smile on my face, and just like for information with another like Kingfisher. That was such a good experience. That was fun.
I had a funny story. When I was flying over Iraq, we brought up a photographer one day, and like a person from like the public affairs photo tech, and every time I was flying in the seat, they were like out in the back dealing with the back end crew or something, or resting. And every time I got out for my turn to rest, they would be up there taking pictures of all the pilots. And they finally came up and they got one photo of me, and it was me and the co-pilot eating pizza, and we were cheersing our pizzas. So the only picture of me the whole time is cheersing our pizzas over Iraq.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We had like during like the last SARX in Comox, we have a National Geographic crew filming.
Oh, cool.
My old crew for that. But of course I was like Sartex like centralized, so like they were like in the back and everything. And every time they were like filming me, I was like a beef jerky in my mouth, drinking water, and just like, or I was like doing like something stupid, and I turn and like the camera is right in my face. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But yeah, no, that was good. I'm glad you were there for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's difficult for us to share what we do, and giving you the experience to share it, and you can talk about it, make it real.
Yeah.
You know, make it like make it good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah, and I was very grateful. I never ended up getting a last flight with the RCAF. I was grounded while I was on parental, and I never came back to flying, and it just never worked out that I got a last flight. So to get a chance to go flying again with the RCAF was amazing, and Dan Fox was fantastic. They let me have a chance to fly the plane, and it was a very special thing for me.
Oh yeah, Dan Fox is our expert matter on everything.
So, as the first aircrew to hold SAR posture in the Kingfisher, what do you hope to contribute to the fleet, the mission, and the next generation of crews coming up behind you?
Well, that's a very loaded question. So we're just like right at the tip. So we are the first one experiencing like the Kingfisher. So what I will really want is just like learn enough to pass to the next crew. So like I wish I go back to 418 at the next posting, go back at the school so I can like teach the next generation of a Kingfisher pilot, just like all the lesson learned that we are experiencing right now at 442. Like we're passing a lot of information along with 418 and everything, but like sometimes like experiencing it is much better. But like that's what I hope. I hope that the next like the Air Force give me the opportunity next to just teach again, because turns out that I love teaching. Like I know sometimes I wanted to get away from it, like, but it seemed that I always go back to it. But like just like teaching to the next generation of FOs.
Awesome.
That's to be just better.
Yeah.
Be better pilots. Save life. That's what we do at the end.
Yeah. In 30 seconds or less, convince new pilots that they want to fly the Kingfisher.
Oh man, that's 30 seconds. Like I just need to sit down and in the seat and they will just like love it. In 30 seconds. Okay. It's the great compromise on size. It's not too small, it's not too big. The mission is amazing, it's very rewarding. You don't need to deploy to do the mission. We are 24 hours 7 on duty. I will be on duty in a week and a half during like a New Year's. And like I'm a one phone call, 2 hours to be in the air and go save life. It's the mission is amazing. The people are very smart, very patient. I think like the name, the patient about like SAR in Canada, it's crazy. And it's such a rewarding mission. You know, like we save life. That's what we do. Like if you're lost on a mountain, you break your legs, or your ship is like sinking, or you have like a heart attack, like where nobody can like go grab you, like we will take off and we will go grab you. We'll find you, we'll save you, and we'll rescue you. We'll at the end we'll survive. It's we are there. Like it's amazing. Like when everything fails, we take off and we do the mission.
That's awesome.
It's such a rewarding when you land after and like like you save like some people, like you found like a sinking boat, or one of my first mission with the U.S. Coast Guard, like there was a Canadian crew, like a Canadian fishing boat, or like the one of the two crewmen got injured, and the U.S. Coast Guard didn't have like Hercules of like top covers, and we took off from Comox, found the boat, like 2 hours of flying away because of the radar, prepped the boat, met the U.S. Coast Guard, like assist them, and we're like witnesses of like all like the rescue. We have, if something happened, we have everything ready in the aircraft, and at the end, like the fisherman like was safe, and we flew back home, like 6 hours mission. Amazing. Just like you land, like you feel like you did like something good today. You know, it's such a good feeling.
That's great. As we bring this interview to a close, what advice would you give to a young student in Moose Jaw about life as a pilot in the Air Force?
It's very challenging. It's really the high road. Like what you want will maybe not happen, will happen, maybe won't happen for the first time, but you can always find a way to make your dream just like happen. Take every opportunity. All right. Never say no. Always say yes. And like good thing will happen to you. Like it just, yeah, there's so many good opportunity. And I will say like RCAF is like one of the best Air Force in the world, just to take back their people. So like the German, if you leave the German Air Force, you're gone. You're never going back. If you, I think the USAF did the same thing for us. Like I was gone. When I came back, I was a different person. Like, and look at me right now. I'm back in the Air Force flying an amazing aircraft. But it's not like just about like flying. Like I have like so many people. Like right now, Jason LaChapelle is the wing surgeon here in Comox. We were in flying college together. So I know him like from the past 20 years. He was a long-range patrol pilot. And he said, like, you know what, flying, I will try something else. And he switched straight, became a doctor. And now is a pilot who's the wing surgeon. So when you come, you're afraid that you will lose your license because something happens, and the doctor is always the public enemy of the pilot because they want to ground us. But going to Jason, he's a pilot too. His job is not to ground you. Like we trust him. So even it's great. Or even like Chris Fukushima, amazing hockey player, like great person. He was a seeking pilot. We're instructor together in Moose Jaw, and his passion was law. So and he's at one point he was done with flying and he switched to law. And he last year he was a JAG in Comox.
Wow.
So it's like there's like so many opportunity, and there's not just like flying. There's like other stuff too. So yeah, just embrace the old career. And if you're not happy with what's happened, they will have opportunity somewhere. And just find your way to happiness, and find your way where you just like you feel comfortable about yourself and about your mission. And when you come home, like you come home with a smile.
That's awesome. I really like that advice. Okay, Rock, that wraps up this two-part conversation. I want to thank you so much for sharing your journey from your early days in cadets to fast jets and instructing, and now standing up the Kingfisher fleet in the SAR world. It's been awesome hearing your story. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your openness, and thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you very much for having me. That was great.
Yeah, fly safe.
Always.
All right, that is going to do it for our two-part chat with Rock Veilleux, a CC-295 Kingfisher pilot, as well as a very experienced instructor, both in Canada and abroad. Did you know that International Women's Day is March 8th and Women of Aviation Worldwide Week is March 2nd to 8th? For our next episode, we'll be sitting down with a C-130J Hercules pilot. She's got tons of experience serving, as many women do, on the front lines of the RCAF. Do you have any questions or comments about anything you've heard in this show? Would you or someone you know make a great guest, or do you have a great idea for a show? You can reach out to us at thepilotprojectpodcast@gmail.com or on all social media at @podpilotproject. And be sure to check out that social media for lots of great videos of our RCAF and mission aviation aircraft. As always, we'd like to thank you for tuning in and ask for your help with the big three. That's like and follow us on social media, share with your friends, and follow and rate us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Keep the blue side up. See ya!
Engineer, shut down all 4. Shutting down all 4 engines.